You kicked off your study session with a lo-fi playlist, but now you really need to focus. Turn your phone screen off, but keep your music on. Try our student plan.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Is everybody having a nice Tuesday? I hope so. How are we all? Sorry for being so late to the stream. I decided to go and shave because I was just a little bit stubbly and I was self-conscious about it. And then I was like, well, if I'm up here and I'm doing this, I should put makeup on. And I just got a new mascara, so then I ended up doing a whole elaborate thing, which, like, given the quality of my webcam, probably wasn't worth it at all. But I did it nonetheless, so now you all have to tell me that I'm looking fantastic. Oh, Lasquita, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Cumberland Bandersnatch, thank you. Thank you very much. Anyway, how are we all doing? I hope we're all having a good Tuesday. I'm gonna play some Call of Cthulhu. Got my controller here. And I am going to chat about some responses to my video because obviously, like, I've been thinking about nothing but my video for a really long time, and now I'm thinking about nothing but the responses to my video. But I've been talking about some of the responses from the people that it's about, but I haven't really touched so much on the honest, good faith criticisms from people who engaged with the framework that I laid down and had something that they found to be a flaw, because there were none of those. But but in all seriousness, I do want to chat a little bit while we're playing today about some of the genuine responses that I've seen from people who aren't completely whack-ass conspiracy cranks, the crank left, and people who aren't, mad, mad about their favorite debate guy or whatever. There are a few responses I want to chat a little bit about while we're playing today. Call of Tuesday, very good. Hiya, looking forward to the distraction from the finger I broke this morning. Oh my goodness, Kelladry Jane, that's awful. I'm so sorry. Now I can't even play Elden Ring. No! I'm so sorry to hear that. That's terrible. Speaking of Ring, hang on. Let me get a picture of myself so I can tweet this. Get more people through to the stream. Since I wasted everyone's time for so long doing my makeup, I may as well exploit my feminine assets to manipulate people into viewing and giving me money, which obviously is how the internet works. The internet's a really easy time for women who just manipulate men into giving them money, as everyone knows. Okay. I can never get this in the middle. Part of the issue is that it's not mirrored on my... Oh no, an ad! No, this isn't the music. It's not mirrored. So it's all swapped. So I'm... Right, so this is my right hand, and as it's appearing to you, on the left of the screen, it's also appearing to me, so it's very... Right, and that's why I have so much trouble with this. Hang on. So this is too far on the right on the screen, which means it needs to come to the right in real life. Perfect. Okay, I did it. I'm a genius. Okay, what's a cute pose? How about... Oh, where's my snipping tool? Right. Okay. That's cute. That's a good start. I'm sorry I'm such a mess today, everybody. I started half an hour late, and then I came to the stream late. On top of that, it's terrible. I know. You should still just give me money just for being fantastic. That's the deal. That's just the deal. You just show up and give me money. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. Anyway, here's another pose. I know it's just me smiling, but it's technically a pose, right? Come watch me chat about responses to my vid and play Call of Cthulu, right? And I wonder if there are Call of Cthulhu memes. I used to do this with the Pathologic stream. I would put out a meme, a meme. I don't know if you are aware of these. Is an internet phenomenon. A reproducible joke, usually in visual format. A little meme. I would... Let's see if there are Call of Cthulhu memes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go straight to what's probably the better source here, and just go Lovecraft memes. Here we go. Me and the boys when some weird ass cult summons us on Earth. That's pretty funny. Let me look at these. I'll show you all these live. Hang on. Transition. Right. Look, Junji Ito's work. Junji Ito. H.P. Lovecraft's work. H.P. Lovecraft. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Rhea Quaza, thank you so much for subscribing. Oh my god, I forgot to say hello to everybody. Okay, I'm scrolling back up. I'm starting everything over. The stream begins now. Everything before this was garbage. Dump it. It was a waste. Okay, hello, Disco Detective. Hello, Failing Cookie. Hello, Matt J. Crowley. Hello, Fox Quirk. Kiri Magic. Quinn Wilder. Cumberland Bandersnatch. Basin is back. Sarah the Green Ranger. Blah, 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 blah. Locan Nagel. Hello, Hey Zelda. Did I already say hello? No, okay. Hello, the Kevin FM. Hello to La Squida. Hello to Jim13. Always a pleasure to have you, Jim. Hello to Verdant Gudge and Kellery Jane and Crazy and Patapatatio and blah 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 blah. Squadles. That's a really fun username. Hey Sophie, just finished your left conspiracy video and I loved it. Loved your rally speech at the end, really energizing. I'm really glad that you felt that way, and I will hopefully be bringing more content forward that will make people, give people direction that they can go to next, soon-ish. Odin T. Havoc, hello, welcome to the stream. K. Croaky, hello, Johnny Desu. Oh, K. Croaky also says, hey, just got done listening to Conspiracy on the Left video. Great job. I've been out of the breadtube loop for a few years now, and I can't stop laughing at the evolution of the social capital guy. Yeah, that's a wild ride, huh? Sure is wild. The Comma Bandit, hello. Hello, Justaland12. God, I'm so far behind. I'm nearly caught up now, though. Anzavel, hello. My favorite thing about your new vid is all the dudes waxing essays about debate bros in literal comment boxes and no one responds to them. All that sad, useless, effort-wasted chef's kiss. Yes, I agree. Lucas Pomelins, hello. Hello to Cotton Candy Lover Chopper. Hello, Kel McDonald. Hello, Lucia Everblack. Always a treat and a treasure to have you here. Delaney, hello. And have I missed anybody now? Did I get everybody? Nearly. Yan Shafim, brightest bunny queen. And Slime Envy. I got them all. I did it. I'm the queen of saying hello to people. Welcome, everybody, to the stream. Okay. Finally. Right. Okay. Yes, this is the meme. This is definitely the meme. Let's go tweet it. Let's fucking go. Me when Caleb no. Me when I can't say that, guys. I don't want to get dragged into even more of this fucking nonsense. Me when I'm just gonna say me when cringe corner. That's nicer. Okay, done. There we go. Transition. My face when morphin. Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna go with, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. That would be silly. Let's put chat. You're now over here. When I'm looking over here, I'm looking at you. Okay. The game's gonna come up here in a minute. So what oh, hello, thank you, Hey Zelda, for the tip. Hey Sophie, great time to enjoy your commentary while I grind Salmon Run. Oh my goodness, wow, that's fun. Oh my god, I could play some Kirby. I just realized if I finish Call of Cthulhu, I could start playing some Kirby. And that could be pretty cool, actually. Maybe. Depends if Kirby's good, actually, because our friend Lily, Mothcob, who everybody here should be subscribed to, actually read Kirby for Filth. And, but I still like the idea of putting my big mouth around a car, so we'll see. Right, where are we at? Well, chat's excited about Kirby. Chat's excited about the possibility of Kirby, so it seems like a strong possibility to me. Right. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh no, too loud. Oh no. Okay. Let's get this music off now. There it go. Le Curb. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to address, I'm just waiting for the game to load, so I'll bring the game up when we're getting into it. One of the things I wanted to address was that I used a clip of Voosh, and I really just like don't like talking about Voosh, and I try to avoid it because honestly it gets really tedious really fast. But like I had to talk about the guy in this video because Caleb Morpin is obsessed with him, and so I had to explain why I do not like the guy because I didn't want to get lumped in as, you know, just this bread tube monolith, you know? And what comes of that, right? There's a 2-minute section in a 2.5-hour video, and all the Voosh fans are losing their goddamn minds about it. I don't care. I don't care, and I'm not going to respond on the grounds of, like, is Voosh a good or bad person? I've made it clear what I think, because I had to, and now I'm moving on. However, there is a response that I will be adding to the FAQ section, which will be in the pinned comments, which I do want to talk about a little bit and address. And here we go, loading up. I want to talk about a little bit and address, which is that people have taken issue with the clip that I used. Now, again, Voosh stands are going into the whole, this is out of context, he explained himself, right, blah, blah, blah. I don't fucking care. I don't care even slightly. If you use EJ's name as just like a punchline in and of itself, you're a shitty person and haven't engaged with all the fantastic work that EJ and Luna do, because they're actually great people, and people should look into their work and enjoy them. And also, Voosh fucking works as a comrade disposal system. There are people doing totally valuable work, like Luna, and the guy just fixates on them and then poisons his whole fandom against them, and that's like what he does. But so again, any of that fandom shit, not here for it. However, some people were pointing out that my use of the clip on its own
let's start over.
Kind of leads to some confusion, because it's just the clip on its own of him saying that there was a disproportionate control by Jews of banks in the Weimar Republic. And I say on screen, this is categorically untrue, blah, blah, blah. And it is. So then there were lots of people in the comments who are saying, but by the numbers, it's not, or whatever. Control of the banks and working in banks, or even ownership of banks, isn't the same thing. And a whole bunch of people in my comments have been like, but Jews were forced into, the banking industry by the Christian European hegemonic order. And that's correct. That's exactly and absolutely correct. However, right, where people are trying to point to the figures and say that there was this disproportionate number of Jewish people working in banking, and that therefore means that he was telling the truth, that's not correct, because he said, and I don't care about however much he explained it later, he said in the clip, right, there was a disproportionate control by Jews, right? And that is a Nazi lie. And that's what I called it on screen. And that's the point that I was making. I was just showing a quick clip that a normal person who has never heard of this guy before would go, oh, that's a shitty guy, right? Because honestly, it just sums it up. It just sums it up really well, and why the guy sucks so bad, basically. To respond a little more to people who say that they're not fans of his and that they still have issue with the context, people say that, like, the argument itself, they take issue with what EJ was saying, which was that the Nazis were bad because their ideology didn't line up with reality. Now, I do not agree with the take and position that EJ was taking in the thing. That's why I actually used such a short clip, because I didn't want to, again, like, this is exactly the issue. Like, this is why I spent any time talking about Voosh, and then this is why I don't want to spend all this energy explaining, especially not in the video, like, why I differ from EJ or whatever. But, like, I don't agree that dialectical materialism dictates every aspect of history, and it's the science that you can use to determine reality, and if you differ from it, then that's why you're bad. I do agree with the statement. Even if the Nazis were right about X, Y, and Z, they would be, like, the Holocaust is still obviously wrong. Of course I do. That's an obviously true statement. But the idea that Jews had disproportionate, specifically control, not employment in the industry, not ownership, but control, is a Nazi lie. That's it. And I'll be adding that to a pinned comment to talk about that a little bit, so that like when more people, because it's kind of a trend in the comments, when more people continue to have that trend of comments, we can just point them and go like, hey, check out the pinned comment, you know.
Blood. Seems like amateur work.
So I think that pretty much covers that one. Nat's gone to hide because she feels uncomfortable when I start talking about this kind of stuff on stream. But I think I'm covering it very well. Thank you. Now, another thing that I really wanted to talk about, and this I think will be much more of an open discussion, is people having problems.
Someone tall left this footprint.
With
a man, probably.
That's interesting. How does he say that's someone tall? Can I crouch and look at that? Maybe just large feet, I guess? Eh. How do you know it wasn't a short clown? Come on, man.
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy.
Sophie, how do you feel about the absence of nuance in online conversation spaces such as Reddit, Twitter, etc.? I dislike it, and I wish that we could have more nuance and understanding. And if we could have more nuance and understanding, I would probably have less of a problem with figures like Voosh. But also, if we had spaces where nuance and understanding thrived, figures like Voosh would not be popular at all. They would be nobody. That's how I feel about that. I really don't want to talk about the dude. I try to talk about him as little as possible and just let my work speak for itself and make debate bros irrelevant by just moving on with real activism. Because I do believe that like the spectacle of debate is a tool to make audiences feel like they're participating in some kind of praxis while they're actually just sitting at home clapping and cheering for the guy they like. And so that's why I do things like Red Planet, where I try and steer people towards like actual shit they can do to make the world a better place, right? Like that's why I do that stuff. And I don't like to talk about it. So like I say, I'm moving on. I'm not saying that you were trying to get me to talk about it. I just wanted to be clear about that. Yeah, this one's probably gonna be more of an open discussion. A lot of people...
What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene?
Like, truly more than I was anticipating.
What killed all these animals?
Truly more than I was anticipating.
What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work?
Have been, like leftists, to be clear. Is this going to be another monster level?
What the? Charles Hawkins?
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
What was I going to say? Right, this is going to be more of an interesting discussion, I think. So, a lot of leftists responding to the video, way more than I honestly expected, have taken issue with which media organizations they see me as aligning myself with or against. So, for example, I've seen someone complaining that I didn't disavow RT very strongly. I've seen people saying, oh, that's all well and good, but Bellingcat is really sus or whatever. And so I talked about this a little bit on stream already, but I actually had more of a defense of Bellingcat in the script. Just more, again, as I view it, more of a teardown of Grey Zone than a defense of Bellingcat, but it did function as a defense of Bellingcat. And when I realized that it functioned as a defense of Bellingcat, I was like, I'm just going to cut this because, like, I don't need, like, I'm a big girl, they're a big, collection of journalists. They can stand up for themselves, and I don't need to fight their battles for them. And I just cut it. I just completely cut it because, like, the thing I was trying to cover was how Grey Zone uses conspiratorial logic, how they say these people have ties to these people, have ties to these people, therefore this is directly funded by the state or whatever, right? And it's been really interesting to see a bunch of people who are in the response to my video, like maybe they're watching the response to Caleb Morpin responding to my video on the Surf stream or something like that, be like, but Bellingcat is bad. And it's really interesting because, like, I didn't say that they were good. And in fact, where I strayed too much into looking like I was saying they were good was exactly where I stopped myself, and I was like, oh, this isn't actually really a good use of my time or anyone's. Oh no!
Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
Oh no, my boy! Maybe I should switch to Kirby.
They put in a great deal of effort to
This
hide
game's kind of boring.
Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case.
So I don't know if people have thoughts on that already, but like I said, I also saw people who were saying that, one person in particular, who was saying that I didn't disavow RT, and they were bothered by that because
how many volumes are
oh, shut the fuck up, dude.
Another volume by Arkham Editions.
Oh my god.
Arkham Editions. Never heard of him.
Well, that's just not true. What is happening right now? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh no. I'm stuck in a loop.
Never heard of him.
Help. Help. Yeah, RT, because RT are very queerphobic, and they have this pro-Russia bias, and they publish a lot of anti-Ukraine and anti-Ukrainian refugee even content, and obviously Caleb Morpin is someone who they have published a whole ton of times, and George Galloway. But as I said in the video, I think it's worth attacking an organization for their worst content. Genuinely, I really do. I think it's worth holding people to account and holding organizations to account by going, this sucks what you've published here. This is really bad, and you shouldn't publish more stuff like this. But now, this isn't to say I don't believe in condemning an outfit wholesale, because I do. And I mean, I have done. To use a really extreme example, it would be ludicrous to say I don't condemn, say, InfoWars, right? It would be ludicrous to say that I don't condemn The Sun, right? Right? Shit like this, obviously. But RT, as I understand it, is actually one of the most widely read publications in Latin America.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide.
In the same way that...
perhaps listen to them.
In the same way that outside of the Anglosphere and outside of Europe, Al Jazeera is one of the most well-read things. And that's why I made the comparison between RT and Al Jazeera in the video. Because Al Jazeera, is owned by the Qatari royal family. The Qatari royal family have slaves in the year of our Lord current year. You can condemn that stuff, and you should. And you can also be aware of their bias. But then, it really does matter to get your perspective from a lot of different places. Honestly, I do think that with regards to Bellingcat, if people are looking for my official position, I think that the reason someone would look for my official position would be in order to say Sophie is on this binary side of this and therefore bad. And you long-time followers of the channel may be aware I'm not a big fan of binaries, but I really do think we need more nuance in discussing stuff. And I think that saying something you didn't disavow RT, or you didn't, or Bellingcat are bad and you're defending them or something, it's just kind of silly. It's just kind of not plugged into the way that media functions in the real world, and it's also giving me a lot less trust and credit than I deserve, frankly. The two genders, tanky and neoliberal. Yeah, exactly. This is the way that people seriously talk. My official position, if people are looking for my official position on Bellingcat, is that they are perceived as sus by a ton of people, perhaps rightfully, because they publish stuff that the American government likes,
Drake
such
left
as
instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
Oh, hang on, I should read this. Okay, I'll read it in a second. such as them condemning Assad for the use of chemical weapons, right? But they've documented extensive use of chemical weapons, and someone who would say that Assad's never used chemical weapons, I'd be kind of suspicious of them, because they're probably trying to do that to, they're probably trying to condemn, they're condemning a lot of evidence that's been covered by many different journalistic outlets, actually with a lot of different alignments and politics, and, you know what I mean? And so it's like they publish stuff that the American government does like for obvious reasons, like, anti-Assad stuff or anti-Russia stuff. But being a useful idiot and being a malicious actor are not the same thing. And sometimes even then, telling the truth is not being a useful idiot. I really hate this Twitter thing where you have to disavow everything that might be bad. Who gives a flying fuck if a YouTuber doesn't come out and say X paper is trash and evil? Fuck, we live in capitalism, it's all owned by someone with a side agenda.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. As I said, I'll just quote from my script, right? The capitalist media is a hideous leviathan, and the ways that it manufactures consent for inhumanity and violence, both immediate and systemic, are horrible. Journalistic outfits that are driven by profit are open to abuse and manipulation and serve the interests of people like Rupert Murdoch, media oligarchs, and they don't stick to a line that is dictated by speaking truth to power, but rather by the interests of people who want to maintain the status quo, right? But focusing too much on those media oligarchs misses the bigger problem, that an organically evolving system of incentives is open to abuse by the rich, and the only people who have the power to intervene and keep the media truly free benefit from the way in which it's biased. And that's the situation we're looking at, an organically evolving system of incentives, right? And no one is challenging it and stopping it, because the only people who could benefit from the way in which it's biased. And that's the kind of way that you need to approach things like RT, which, again, is, so widely read that, I think that the BBC, who I gave a speech outside of protesting, right? I think that they have done morally bankrupt and reprehensible things and need deep reform, right? And I feel the same way about RT. I think that the BBC, who I've given a speech outside the BBC, right, condemning them, I don't think that they should be just completely thrown away. And, the movement to stop paying your license fee, when this trends on Twitter, hashtag stop paying your, don't pay your license fee, right? Even though I don't actually own a television and I don't pay a license fee, I know that that's being pushed by people who are being useful idiots to the capitalist media, even though the BBC is itself just a fucking propaganda outlet for the Tories at this point, and has been for a long time, a propaganda outlet for whichever party was in government. Chat, I'm gonna go through some of your messages and catch up a little bit, but I'm gonna just progress with the game a little bit first. So, if somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt I am in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality. Oh my god. In order for them to be recovered and burned. Right. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination can be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its content into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digest of knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. If, in any event, I will neither be there to guide you nor suffer from your actions. True. All right. Right then, got to figure it out. It's time to figure it out. Folks, if you're enjoying the stream, please consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command tip. And you can also go to my Patreon, patreon.com/Sophie from Mars, and help me out there if you want to support my work. I've just seen we have a huge number of viewers today, and that's fucking awesome. Hello, everyone. I also want to say thank you to everyone who showed up for my party yesterday, my little party to celebrate getting 100k subs. That was very cool. Thank you to everyone who showed up, and obviously a huge thanks to everyone who gave money. That was really nice of you. Thank you so much. Right. Let's see. To be honest, from watching the video, I didn't get the vibe you were aligning with any media outlets in particular, just discussing and examining them. This is exactly why, so Verdant Gurge, thank you for saying that. This is exactly why I feel like these kinds of criticisms have come from people who aren't giving me, I think, an appropriate level of trust. I won't get into why, because I don't want to paint everyone with the same brush. That would be me not giving them the appropriate level of trust. But I do think that they aren't giving me an appropriate level of trust. You know, sometimes it's coming from people who they haven't heard of me before and they're just watching my video for the first time, and, you know, fair enough. I get that, whatever. You don't necessarily have such a reason to trust me. But sometimes it's also like, you know, but I also think that maybe you would trust other people more. Again, I'm not going to like paint everyone with the same brush. I don't want to accuse too many people of being misogynists in case I just, you know, then the next, you know, girl who cried wolf. That said, my video is impeccably researched. I spent such a long time reading it. I got so many people who I respect very, very deeply to read it over and check it, and they gave me extensive feedback, and I revised the script so many times. And it's so long as well because I had to like fit so much in that like I think that there is a cognitive bias in play when people aren't giving me that kind of trust, you know? When people are just going like, well, now you're defending Grazer. Sorry, now you're defending Bellingcat. But Bellingcat are sus, so everything you're saying from here is suspect, right? It's like, well, that's ridiculous. Like, and as I said earlier in this stream, I deliberately cut a bunch of stuff that I did view as defending Bellingcat too much, because that's just not what I'm trying to do here at all. You know, similarly to like the RT thing, it's just like, you know, what else have we got? It's pretty clear in the video. Thank you, Transhasco. Nonetheless, this is what I mean. I just wanted to discuss this because I you know, I thought it was clear as well, but some people I think haven't found that clear. Nuance in discussing news coverage? No, just condemn everything wholesale. I don't want to strawman the people saying this too much, because I think that this is just an issue of cognitive bias, where people either view something, and I mean this is like part of what led us into this place in the first place, right? Like people seeing Grey Zone, for example, as the only ones who are willing to condemn American imperialist blah 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 blah, and then like they don't bother actually holding the articles they're reading up to like a critical standard, right? And they read an article where it says Abby works with Angela Saini, who works on a commission that is headed by Peter Daszak, who is bad because he's involved with Syria psyops, right? And then so they're claiming that Abby is therefore bad because of this relation. And it's like, if you were looking at this with an analytical eye and critical thinking, you would go, that's fucking ridiculous. But if you come to the article and you're like, yes, evil bread tube, I finally have proof, right? And I see people on Twitter literally citing this like today. Like I see people still now saying Abby is MI6 or whatever. And it's just like, no, like whatever you're trying to like take issue with, like, you know, you can have, like, not everyone has to like it. Well, actually you do have to like Abby, like legally. She's my friend and it is against the law for you to not like her. But like, you know, whatever, like, however you've wound up disliking this person, it's not then good to go from there and just, like, believe just gibberish about them, just absolute fucking nonsense. Like, this is a thing that, this kind of thing, like, here's a good example, right? During the research process for the video, I read through the fucking asinine breadtube book that Caleb Maupin wrote, and he lists Dr. Steve Hassan, as I talked about in the video, as being related to breadtube, because of some connection to, like, Caleb Kane, who, like, no one has thought about in 2 years. And when I read that, I sent Dr. Hassan an email because I was like, well, that's interesting. I wonder if Dr. Hassan would be interested in, like, just, you know, giving a comment in the video on the, like, various libelous shit that Caleb Maupin's written about him. Because basically everyone that Caleb Maupin has mentioned, he's been, like, extremely dishonest about. And I was just curious, like, what this guy would have to say. And then I was talking about that on stream, and someone was like, oh, don't you know Dr. Hassan is really anti-trans? And I was like, well, shit, you know, and I realized I hadn't done my due diligence in that regard. And I checked up on that stuff, and then I cut it out from the video. Like, no, sorry, not cut it out, because there wasn't anything that I had done there yet. But, like, I decided then, like, if he replies to me, I'll be like, eat shit, tough. Like, you know, and that's the kind of, like, you need to be open to, like, changing around on this kind of stuff, and that's exactly the kind of thing that I'm trying to get at in the video, like, being more critical, and staying in touch with something called reality if we can possibly find it, you know. Every time they defund the BBC trends, it's from right-wingers. Like, no matter how right-wing the BBC are, it'll never be enough for the fascists in charge of the system. See the fact the Tories are abolishing the public funding in, like, 5 years. Yeah, exactly and completely. The BBC have been, like, increasingly fascist for a long time, and now the Tories are axing them anyway. Yeah, absolutely. And this is a huge problem that replicates itself all through modern capitalist media, including social media. The Facebook documents and Frances Hagen, the whistleblower, like, all of this is extremely detailed. Sorry, it's been documented in extreme detail, stumbling over my words, that, like, Facebook got complaints from right-wingers that they weren't representing right-wing stuff enough. And by right-wing, we're talking about, like, Breitbart, right? Just, like, utterly untruthful, completely Nazi shit, right? And then Facebook were like, oh my God, do we have a bias against them? We better not have a bias against them, you know? And then they would bump it up. And then Breitbart would go, well, you know, I mean, you're still not suppressing, like, you're still not showing us enough. Like, we're being suppressed. And they would go, oh my God, do we still have this bias against them? We better bump it up more. And it just, like, kept on going up and up and up. And I'm not to say that's not to say that, like, no one at Facebook is themselves extremely far right, or biased in that way, but to say that, like, it's an organically evolving system of incentives which is open to abuse by the rich, and the people who could intervene in a way to stop it benefit from the way that it's biased. You know what I'm saying? I also think on the specific front of the BBC, which BBC News has... I also think which BBC News has served as a propaganda outlet for the government in power. I'm not entirely following, Lucas. I'm sorry about this. The BBC is a large and multifaceted beast with a lot of complexity, and much of what they do adds a fair amount of good to the world. The BBC is very much not just the news arm. Like, yes. And that's exactly it. Compared to what purely capitalist media would do, the BBC does often manage to do fairly impartial reporting, but then there are other instances where purely capitalist media does much more impartial reporting than the BBC. It's a complicated situation, and the BBC has just been utter dog shit since Boris came in. My big thought on RT is just that people like Maupin accusing others of working for the CIA is pretty wild. If you apply his standards, he's working for Russia. I mean, yeah. And also, like, he's said in one video that he, like, just got out of a meeting with a Russian ambassador. And in another video, he said that he's been in the same room as Vladimir Putin several times. And I'm just like, what? Anyway, yeah, exactly. Love that you got Thought Slime to read Morpin. Yeah, that was good. I wanted to wind everybody up. I really wanted to wind everybody up who was getting read out. So that was fun. That was all good fun. Where was I? Right. Bread is evil, therefore BreadTube is evil. Checkmate. Bread is good and tasty and the basis of a lot of human civilization. Therefore BreadTube is good. Check fucking reverse cut. Gotcha. Can you really produce videos as good as Philosophy Jew without a big conspiracy behind you? Something to think about. Yeah, it's that is the issue. Yeah, she's just too good. That's the problem, you know. I now that I'm taking more time over my videos and I have more time to read studies, read books, produce stuff more carefully, I'm trying to hold myself to some of the standards that I see Abby holding herself to, and I'm proud to say that I think for the Conspiracy on the Left video, I really met them. Let's see. Also, tubes are rad. Thank you, Panterasmelos. What? Panterasmelos. I'm so sorry. I cannot pause your username at all. I feel like most people that watch the vid were either brought into the conspiracy and just couldn't engage with your points, or they were not and could enjoy it. But could you explain what you meant at the end with telling the truth to convince people who are far gone? I did not say that we tell the truth to rescue people out from the conspiracy space. Okay, sorry. I think I've understood what you mean now. Sorry. Let me back up. The truth as opposed to facts, right? Here are some facts. Bill Clinton is a registered passenger on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. Jeffrey Epstein died. The security cameras were off when Jeffrey Epstein died. Bill Clinton possesses the resources to have someone killed. There are some facts, right? Now, have I told you the truth at any point? Well, I imparted an understanding to you, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at, right? Like, people who are in a conspiracy space, they pointed a lot of facts which are serving an agenda. They're deliberately trying to... Wait, what? What's whispers? They're deliberately trying to serve the understanding of reality that they have. This, by the way, is why, for those who aren't aware, the conspiracy space and the cult space are really the same thing. Like, you may have noticed that I called it the cultic milieu. And it's not just because it's cultural, it's because it's to do with cults. Like, so to revisit Barkoon's whispers is like Twitch DMs? That's so weird. To return to Barkoon's quote about like dynamics of expansion, right? Event conspiracies, systemic conspiracies, super conspiracies. So first you have, let's use a turf example. I was actually talking to Nat about this earlier today. Event conspiracies. Maya Forstater was fired for what she believed, just for believing that biological sex is real. Right? That's an event conspiracy because it's not true. it reflects an in-group an intergroup social conflict, right? TERFs who are trying to like detach people from fucking reality completely, and then the rest of everybody, and it's about just this specific thing, right? Then you move to systemic conspiracy, right? Women in general are getting fired because they believe in biological sex, right? And then they're trying to point to other examples of event conspiracies where something similar-ish happened, right? And just to quickly go through this one, Maya Forstater was not fired. She didn't have a contract renewed. She wasn't fired for her beliefs. She was fired for spreading a lot of really hateful, heinous shit about trans people that would have made a hostile work environment for any trans people who were working there, and she was leading harassment campaigns online. Okay, right? But like pointing to other event conspiracies similar to that one, and then bringing them into this systemic conspiracy, and then you lead to a super conspiracy, right? Martin Rothblatt is a Jewish transgender who is trying to turn everyone into transhumanist cyborg people to implement the Great Reset and serve her globalist masters, right? That's the dynamics of expansion. And so what's happening to your social group as the conspiracy is getting bigger, right? Just think about that for a second. What's happening to the social group as your conspiracy gets bigger? The social group is getting more insular and smaller. Not necessarily smaller, but your world is getting smaller. See, your ability to talk to people, right, is getting more and more fucked by the fact that your reality is diverging from other people's realities, right? Your ability to reckon with critics of what you believe in is getting worse and worse. And this is exactly where, a lot of the responses to my video, where I want to examine a little bit of what's going on there, because among leftists, the tendency to write off people who are like, well, there's a bit more to it, right? There's a bit more to both sides of this thing as being centrists or liberals, right? Can lead us to a place where we're just refusing to engage with any critics of anything, right? Anything at all. And that's a serious problem. That is a serious, serious problem. Jeremy Corbyn. Okay, here we go. Let me piss off some people in chat for a second. This will actually work really well. Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party in cabinet did have a problem with anti-Semitism. Very sincerely, they had a problem with anti-Semitism, and they were being perceived by a whole ton of people as being aligned with more serious anti-Semites like George Galloway, who was a constant champion of Jeremy Corbyn and constantly dismissing all accusations of anti-Semitism against Jeremy Corbyn as being nonsense, right? And people's fear was really running rampant. Now, yes, to just agree with all the things that you're thinking, or maybe even yelling at the screen right now, right? Just to agree with all those things, yes, the fear was disproportionate. It was stoked by centrist and right-wing media who wanted to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn. Yes, tons of the complaints about anti-Semitism into the party were literally being ignored on purpose by the Labour right wing to sabotage Jeremy Corbyn. Literally the majority of complaints about anti-Semitism were against Jewish MPs for criticizing Israel. Yes, I'm acknowledging all of those things, right? Just to be clear about this. However, I was once timed out from H Bomber Guy's Twitch stream by a mod because I said Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party does have a problem with anti-Semitism. I didn't say Jeremy Corbyn is an anti-Semite. That's not something I believe. I didn't say criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic. It should be clear by this point that that's not something I believe. I didn't say that there are fully fascist Nazi anti-Semites in Jeremy Corbyn's cabinet. That's not something I believe. I said Jeremy Corbyn's party has a problem with anti-Semitism. This was at the time when Luciana Berger was saying she felt unsafe going to the Labour conference. Nat, was really affected by this. One side of Nat's family is Jewish. Nat was really affected by this, and I remember a day when she was just, staying in bed because she was so upset about this, and I was really upset about it too, right? And this was around this time, and I said this to someone. I said this in H Bomber Guy's chat, and one of his mods timed me out and said, not sure if you're trolling, but just gonna time you out for saying that. Now, that's not engaging, obviously, H Bomber Guy does not represent Jeremy Corbyn Incorporated, right? But as members of the millennial / Gen Z, Corbyn project, we are representative of a social movement. And our inability to engage with critics, right, is damaging to the functioning of our social group, and certainly cuts us off from engaging with those people and from those people working with us, right? So if we want to be able to work with liberals, sometimes we have to be really patient with them and sit through all that stuff, right? And let them know that we're hearing them, and then hopefully they will return the courtesy to us, and then it gets very frustrating when it turns out that they actually don't, and that they just repeat a bunch more Blairite fucking gibberish, right? So, like, yes, yes, it goes both ways, and we get ignored constantly, but that doesn't mean we should ignore as well, right? And sometimes there are serious critics who we need to engage with, at least for the appearance of it, just to show people that we do actually care, right? And so what happens as your conspiracy gets bigger? Well, conspiracy theories reflect into group social conflicts. And if your conspiracy is reaching a point where all the baddies are basically everyone in the world, well, that means that the social group conflict is between the people who believe in your version of reality and everybody else. You know what that's called? A cult, right? So that's why we have to be able to engage with critics better, and it's important to engage with, both engage with criticisms and also to be able to examine our own beliefs, ideas, and our approach to facts and knowledge in a critical and rational and analytic way, right? It's really important to do all those things, because otherwise you trend towards this incredibly insular kind of approach. And that's part of why I want to have this chat today. I now really need to pee because estrogen has made my bladder tiny. So I'm going to put you all on the intermission screen for a minute. Sorry to do this. I'm going to put you all on the intermission screen, and I will be back in 5. I promise. I will. I'm not abandoning you. I promise. Pinky promise. If you're enjoying the stream, please consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command tip, and I will see you in 5, and we'll carry on with some Call of Cthulhu and chatting about responses to the video. Okay. Okay, pals, Sophie's back. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Right, let's get into some more Call of Cthulhu. Time for some more Call of Cthulhu, baby. Right. I also wanted to just... I should have taken notes about the responses that I wanted to talk about. Hey, a bunch of people are watching right now, so I just want to say this to all of you, so all of you can hear this. I don't care how much you use the word. I don't care if you think it's gender neutral. Bruh is not how I want any comment in my comment section to begin. Dude or man, right, or bruh, or any of this shit. Look, before anyone even says it, I don't care if you think it's gender neutral. I don't care how often you use the word or in what capacity you use the word. I, Sophie, am asking you, insert your name here, personally, never fucking use that, okay? Don't say, bruh, and then, you're complimenting me, or whatever. Literally, if you're going, bruh, this video was so good, I'm going, what the fuck is wrong with you? So seriously, okay? Cotton Candy Lava Chopper, I don't know if you are just joking right now or not, but I direct you to Sean's tweet. When someone asks you not to do a thing and then you do the thing, they sigh with relief when you leave the room. Stop it. Is that the sarcasm face for Twitch? I don't know Twitch that well. Maybe you're just okay, but okay, cut it out. Even if it's just the 176 of you. Wow, 170. That's so cool for a Call of Cthulhu stream. Even if it's just the people here who, you know? Okay, even with the /s, I don't like that. Stop it. Even if it's only the people here who hear this message, stop leaving those comments. They're so annoying. It just makes my whole right. And if you want to make a good impression with me, okay, if you want me to be like, this is a thoughtful, nice comment. Oh, what a nice thing they've said about my video. Or especially if you have criticism for me that you want me to engage with, don't do that. It's so gross. All right. I shouldn't have to explain why it's bad to do it to a trans woman. It's bad to just assume that everyone in general wants to be your bruh anyway. Okay? I just want to say for the sake of cis women as well, just to be clear. Anyway. 200, are there really 204 people watching? That's crazy. Is this just because I said I was dealing with responses to the video? I'm not gonna watch their stream or anything, guys. They had nothing to... This is something that they haven't gotten yet. Maybe they'll get this at some point later on, but literally, you've got Caleb Morpin claiming that we're trying to kill him. You've got a bunch of forgettable chuds around him. You got Peter Coffin saying that I have Hitler's eyebrows or something and getting 5 likes and then being like, she's like, I'm not owned. It's just sad. It's just sad to watch, right? I haven't had responses from any of the others, but none of them seem to get that. Firstly, we are all laughing at them, and secondly, that they are the subject of a study, not people I'm going to engage with. I don't know if you all think I'm going to watch a stream. I'm not going to do that. I'm playing Call of Cthulhu. But I do want to chat about...
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
Oh my god, they're all asleep. It's a blue bottle. Are they blue pills? Look at this. I could do this for the thumbnail for the stream VOD. So just so we're clear, pals, I'm not going to be doing that kind of content. I'm playing some Call of Cthulhu, but I will be chatting about some of the earnest responses I've had.
And an old amulet.
While my estrogen dissolves under my tongue. This key that bears the Elder sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch, whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones, were engraved at its center. Interesting. Okay. All right. God, this is exactly what I was complaining about before. Look, if there's the ability to turn something around in a video game, and I turn it around like this, and the back cover is just blank, I'm gonna get mad. Oh, hello.
What a strange amulet.
Ooh,
I have a feeling
okay.
I'd better not touch it.
Lucas, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Everybody, please remember, if you have a Prime account, you can attach it to your Twitch account, and then that means that you can give me money without paying any money yourself. How can you speak so clearly while holding estrogen on your tongue? I sound so weird when I take mine and try to speak. I speak for a living. Don't feel bad. It is my job. I should be embarrassed when I do fuck up speaking. I am a professional speaker. Similarly, if you speak and, perform and write for a living, you should be embarrassed if you publish what you call a book, which is just a tiny amount of words and is full of typos. IMO. Sorry, again, I'm responding to stuff that people don't necessarily know about. I've had people from the crank left, so that's why I'm laughing about it. It doesn't matter. Like, people claiming that it's a bourgeois complaint for me to point out that Peter Coffin's last book is riddled with typos. Literally, like, if you're publishing it and claiming that it's a fucking book, then Okay. Oh, these messages?
And these red rocks, like precious
audio
stones,
messages
set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Lucas, thank you. Oh my god, that's so... congratulations. That's so cool that you're getting on estrogen. That's very, very cool. I'm very happy for you. That's my favorite thing, is when people get to be themselves. Wonderful. Congratulations on being you. And thank you for sharing that with the chat.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
If this is a book, why didn't you hire a copy editor? Like, that's, yeah, like, that, they're interpreting it like it's like that, and it's just like, if I'm publishing something, like, I write into Google Docs. Like, Google Docs is a free tool, and it underlines stuff with red. Like, I just, like, I have friends and family who are dyslexic. Like, I'm not just trying to shit on people for, like, making a typo. It's about the act of publishing a ton of typos.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Interesting. So do I need to go look at the Arkham editions?
The Chalice of Knowledge.
Ah, look at that. Sweet Caroline, thank you for the 100 bits. That's very, very nice of you. Editing is part of the job of writing. Yeah, right, absolutely. Like, if someone published, like, likewise, like, to talking about a book being tiny, if someone published, like, I don't know what, like a 40,000 page book, and most of it was, like, filler nonsense and tangents and, like, and the, it just had no structure, you'd be like, wow, why didn't you get someone else to look over this? Why didn't you edit this in any fashion, Anyway, I'm trying to think of other kind of interesting criticisms and responses that I've
What
had.
did Drake say about this collection?
I see why there are so many of them now. We have to look at them.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Ah, here we go.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about.
What? It should be
in
this
his
one, right?
message.
Things that should not be? Maybe it shouldn't.
What did Drake say about this collection?
God damn it, dude. All right. Oh, can I increase my stuff? Do I have any points? I have loads of points I could actually spend. That's cool. Cool. And I may as well just put some into investigation. Cool. And how do I vote? Like that? Yes. Okay, cool. I did have a response where someone was talking about my definition of imperialism that I'd used. They correctly observed that a lot of mine was based on Lenin's definition of imperialism. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I might have to pull up the comment that they offered. Because I thought my definition of imperialism was pretty good and pretty comprehensive, especially for the discussion that we were having. But I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what they said. It was an interesting criticism. I definitely agreed with part of it and wanted to look more into it. And I have been looking for more contemporary Marxist.
Queen has little protection.
More contemporary Marxist texts to check out, because it is a little feels a little like chasing your tail sometimes when you're when you're only reading through a guy from 200 years ago or a guy from 100 years ago.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seems particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting response that someone had made, but not all of it I completely agreed, but I did want to just look over it. Can't quite. It was quite a long one, so it should be. Just 1 second. I'm gonna actually move things over. Where's my editing thing? Oh no, now we're getting into other stuff. No, these are older comments. Maybe if I search for Lenin's? Your criticisms of Duggan are very weak. Yeah, see ya, buddy. It was cool until she goes on repeating all news she has access to and ignoring news censored in the global northwest. I mean, that's just literally this is the opposite of criticisms I've been discussing earlier. This is so classic of you just wind up with whenever you have anything that's this kind of that's this big, and just to be clear, this is 121,000 views now. Yeah, you just have people who are you didn't condemn this news source enough, and also people who are you're just repeating, you're just agreeing with your tiny bubble. I mean, literally, the Crank Left made a thumbnail where they had me saying everyone who disagrees with CNN is a Nazi, which is that was kind of when I was oh, okay, I don't need to worry about anything that these guys have to say about the video, because they literally just can't understand it. Anyway, very good video, but I think it could have benefited from a more precise/technical discussion of the word imperialism in the Marxist lexicon. What it actually means as a theoretical term, its origins, Lenin's imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, drawing from Hobson's imperialism, and Hilferding's finance capital, and how it's inextricably linked with finance capital in the Marxist conception. I think you gave a good overview of the symptoms of imperialism, but failed to describe the underlying mechanism. Understanding that imperialism is considered almost synonymous with financialization in the Leninist worldview is important to understand why a lot of anti-Semites and conspiracists are able to hide their views under the guise of anti-imperialism, since anti-Semitic conspiracies have historically leaned heavily on the role of Jewish people in finance. It's probably also relevant to explain the behavior of people who aren't anti-Semites, but who uphold various dictators and strongmen as part of anti-imperialism, since imperialism isn't just bossing people around, it's, again, in the Leninist worldview, a specific phenomenon that arises when the transfer of finance capital from the core to the periphery creates international linkages of debt. And to be clear, I think Lenin's theory of imperialism is very analytically useful. I don't think it's an anti-Semitic theory, or that anyone who believes in it is a conspiracist, or even that people who offer critical support to, say, Gaddafi on the basis of anti-imperialism are automatically evil. I have complicated feelings about the whole subject, and honestly, I consider my opinion on the whole thing to be a work in progress. So please, nobody jump down my throat calling me a revisionist, or left deviationist, or infantile leftist, or whatever. Lamal. Right. So this was a really interesting, useful, and rare, good faith criticism on theory grounds, which I really appreciated. Some small part of me that is now dead held out the hope that the crank left would be able to respond on theory grounds and be like, she's making these arguments, and let's talk about what Lenin said about this stuff. And none of them did. They just say that stuff like, she said that criticizing Hannah Arendt is Holocaust denial, which isn't what I said in that part of the video. Whatever. Just, rewatch the video if you want to know what I said in that part of the video. Actually, there's a great meme I could show. This is what someone made this, right? Responding to Sophie's video, responding to the video you made up in your head. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This comment is a combination of responding to Sophie's video and responding to the video that you made up in your head. But it's much more of the former, which is why it's a very nice and good criticism to receive. Andy, how are you watching it now? How? How many times have you watched the video, Andy? You're adorable. I appreciate your support. All right, let's go paragraph by paragraph, okay? I think that's a good way to go through some of this. Very good video, but I think it could have benefited from a more precise / technical discussion of the word imperialism in the Marxist lexicon, what it actually means as a theoretical term, its origins. Lenin's Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. I've read that. It was based on that. Drawing from Hobson's Imperialism. I have not read that. And Hilferding's Finance Capital. I have not read that. And how it's inextricably linked with finance capital in the Marxist conception. I have read extensively about the Marxist conceptions of finance capital, as well as some more recent, not necessarily Marxist, but not necessarily, I think, fundamentally disagreeing with Marxist analyses of finance capital. Anyway, I think you gave a good overview of the symptoms of imperialism, but failed to describe the underlying mechanism. Now, I can actually get into that a little. I can actually get into a little bit of why that is. In some of the CPI crowd, right, Caleb Maupin's orbiters, it's really popular for them to cite Lenin's 5 characteristics of imperialism from Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. And I thought, wouldn't it be kind of funny if when I talk about imperialism, I make sure to include all of these criteria, all of these characteristics, but I don't say them as like, here are 5 things to watch out for. These are the 5 criteria. Because, firstly, phrasing it just as these 5 criteria make it imperialism, right, is exactly the kind of manipulation that we get to later in this comment, right? Like, the kind of manipulation that people do in order to make it a more anti-Semitic approach, right? But also, like, it is focusing on the symptoms. And so that's part of where I think this is a good criticism. Like, yeah, I probably could have talked more about And I mean, Arendt talks about this as actually something that Arendt is very good at describing, how capitalism ideologically requires and economically requires infinite growth, right? And that ecosystem will always lead to colonialism, will always lead to imperialism, right? Like the mechanism by which the Industrial Revolution kicked off colonialism, not the Industrial Revolution kicked off colonialism, but rather the economics of capitalism kicked off colonialism and then got tied in with the Industrial Revolution, is like a bunch of Dutch merchants, right? The mercantile class in Holland were like, we could go overseas and get a whole ton of this stuff. I think spices, whatever, right? And it would be cheap to do that compared to trying to grow it here, where we'd have to buy land and so on, right? We could go overseas and acquire some land cheaply, right? And come back and make an absolute killing selling these spices, right? And that's that's a very good example and an early example of the mechanism by which all this shit happened. But what Lenin talks about in Imperialism, the highest stage of capitalism, is how when capitalism has done that and has spread around the world, sorry, weird stuff in chat. When capitalism has done that and has spread around the world and has formed this imperialist stage, there are characteristics that it has, and there are specific economics to it, and then there are ways in which it can be fought against, and that's why so much of this is about being anti-imperialist or whatever, right? Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with chat and think about this comment and think about what I'm saying at the same time. Time to get high, trying to figure out what even is reality. Yeah, it's good. I do think I need to rewatch the video, but I don't think I can justify it unless I can drag others into joining me. Well, Andy's watching it and watching it and watching it, so you can just 8 times? Jesus. Well, thank you very much. I'm glad you like it so much, Andy. Just watch it as many times as you want. I'm watching the video through with my mom in parts, actually. She is enjoying it and thinks you're very smart. Aww. She says something along the lines of, she has too many brains to fit inside her head. Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Disco Detective. What a lovely thing. What a lovely thing to say. Thanks for making such a dense topic so digestible. Well, thank you for telling me about that. That was very nice. Big fan of your tab that just says Lovecraft memes. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. Anyway, right, next paragraph. Understanding that imperialism is considered almost synonymous with financialization in the Leninist worldview is important to understand why a lot of anti-Semites and conspiracists are able to hide their views under the guise of anti-imperialism, since anti-Semitic conspiracies have historically leaned heavily on the role of Jewish people in finance. It's probably also relevant to explain the behavior of people who aren't anti-Semites but who uphold various dictators and strongmen as part of anti-imperialism, since imperialism isn't just bossing people around, it's again, in the Leninist worldview, a specific phenomenon that arises when the transfer of finance capital from the core to the periphery creates international linkages of debt. So, debt being the chain that binds the world is something that I've talked about in previous videos. It's probably a phrase I should have used here, right? Just to be clear, shout out to my boy D. Grabe, Debt the First 5,000 Years. Everyone should check it out, by David Graeber. It's very, very good. The evolution of debt into the economic system that we have today, since just the invention of money, right? There was the invention of debt, and the invention of credit, and then the invention of money, and the consequences of that have been a disaster for all of humankind. And now we see these monstrously huge debts where people are just unfortunate to be born into a place that is considered to have a debt to another place, because a long time ago they were invaded by that place and are still paying off the bill for having been invaded, essentially. That's really, really fucked up. And that's exactly the kind of thing, by the way, that people are talking about when they talk about decolonization, is like ending historic debts that are being required to be paid from former colonized nations to former colonizers, or even current colonizers, when people are talking about large-scale decolonization. And because it is also latched onto by some progressive liberals who are talking about, like giving stuff back from museums, which also is a good thing to do and should actually be done. A bunch of reactionaries talk about decolonization as if it's like, not real anti-imperialism and is a neoliberal blah 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 blah. Very boring. Anyway, I want to push back on part of this paragraph we just read, the second paragraph, and it's the bit towards the end, right? Since imperialism isn't just bossing people around, it's a specific phenomenon that arises when the transfer of finance capital from the core to the periphery creates international linkages of debt. So I just want to quote from my script for a second. Conspiracy. I'll move this over here, actually, so you can still see the comment. I'm just going to quote from my script for a second, because I just want to say, what's a good word I can search for here? Dependence, right? Okay. America controls much of the world with its enormous buying power, because the freedom in the free market is the freedom for the most powerful, the richest party, to do whatever they want. American money buys goods manufactured in countries dependent on the dollar, because the exported capital from America forces them into dependence by design. As Graeber argues, that is basically the role, like the purpose of money just in general. But American foreign aid, even as massive shipments of wheat or cotton, doesn't help countries, but rather completely flattens their domestic wheat and cotton markets, devaluing the crops of local farmers and making them completely dependent on America. And when they refuse the aid, America instantly threatens violence. Violence, military intervention, military domination is not irrelevant in modern discussion of imperialism. It just isn't most of the imperialism actively happening, because most of the time the threat of violence is enough, but the threat of violence has to be credible for imperialism to work. And so that snippet from my script. And I'm also, to be clear about this, if I'm missing something, I'm open to corrections from the chat, but I believe what I said in the script there, which is in the final video if you want to check, answers that or describes exactly what they're saying here, right? Since imperialism isn't just bossing people around, right? It's a specific phenomenon that arises when the transfer of finance capital from the core to the periphery creates international linkages of debt. Okay, so maybe I should have talked more explicitly about finance capital, but in the first place, right, I was saying like the buying power of America, the free market, the export of capital, and then I went on to talk about, American foreign aid additionally to that. But I think I can see where that was maybe unclear in my script, and it sounded like maybe I didn't quite like get the financial side of it, the financialized side of it, to be clear. And the role of what like Marx would call fictitious capital. Sounds a lot like how a loan shark operates. I mean, how would we extend this analogy? It's like if a loan shark, offers you some kind of like payday loan or whatever, and then there's extreme interest rates that like fuck you over, and then they come and break your knees. But like, the threatening side of that, once you already owe the money, is maybe accurate, but the how you arrive in that situation isn't accurate. Like, people aren't coming in good faith to America. Sorry, nations aren't coming in good faith to America or American financial institutions and going, hey, please help me get through this thing just with a little loan, right? It's much more like if a loan shark came into your house and just took a baseball bat to your coffee table, knocked all the bookshelves off the wall, smashed in your computer, you broke your dog's legs, and they were like, damn, this is all going to be expensive vets bills and furniture, and you'll probably need to repaint once that wall's done burning down. You should probably take a loan. Like, it's more like that. Like, that's how America, like, it's not, like a loan shark does you the basic courtesy of waiting for you to ask for the money before they become incredibly predatory and break your knees. America breaks your knees first, and then makes you pay for the doctor, and then makes you pay them back for the loan, and then breaks your knees again. That's America. But yeah, let's revisit this paragraph. So I think that the end of this paragraph, I have actually answered in the script. But understanding that imperialism is considered almost synonymous with financialization in the Leninist worldview is important to understand why a lot of anti-Semites and conspiracists are able to hide their views under the guise of anti-imperialism, since anti-Semitic conspiracies have historically leaned heavily on the role of Jewish people in finance. So I actually think this is a really good point, and it does make me wish that I had done exactly that in the video, like talked about finance capital more directly and talked about fictitious capital and financialization, because the financialization of everything is a crucial part of neoliberalism. Like, a lot of the time people will say neoliberalism is the fetishism of the marketplace, just treating the free market as the solution to everything, or they'll say neoliberalism is just a new wave of liberalism. That's why it's called neoliberalism. But actually, like, specifically, the role of finance capital is the distinguishing feature of the historic wave of neoliberalism. Like, there's a reason why the Gordon geckos, right, were on the rise, specifically in the 80s. Like, there's a reason why, while the Guatemalan genocide was happening, while Pinochet was installed, while Nelson Mandela was forced into taking loans from the IMF that stopped him from implementing communist policies that he'd promised and had been elected on, while all of that stuff was happening, Wall Street was exploding, dudes in shitty-looking suits snorting a bunch of cocaine and getting raided by the IRS were like a dime a dozen. There's a reason for that, and they are closely linked, right? And it has a lot to do with that ability to like create speculative markets that have to do with exported capital. And you could get into a lot more of the specific detail of that. And maybe that's a fun kind of research project I can get into in future, is unpacking some of that stuff for my audience, because honestly, I think it's something that is completely absent in the left YouTube space. I see people trying to cover it, who are unfortunately also cranks. And the reason that they want to cover it is to blame international bankers. So they're not really doing a good job because they have an agenda. Dan Olson touches on a little bit of, like kind of the finance industry tangentially for his NFTs video, and that was very good. And again, like, very concise way of covering really dense topics. But I think it could be a really, really fun thing if going into that rabbit hole did produce good topics for me to talk about. I would recommend the channel Unlearning Economics. I think they're a pretty good channel for talking about economics. I've seen a few of their videos now, and they were all very smart. But yeah, I think that could be interesting. So I just want to say I think I've answered part of this criticism, and that it was slightly I don't want to say unfair. That's very moralistic, but like, part of this criticism I don't think was accurate to the video, but other parts of this criticism I would like to do more going forward to improve on that. And then they've added their note on the end, which I want to comment on, but it's mostly about themselves, so it's not all, yeah. To be clear, I think Lenin's theory of imperialism is very analytically useful. I don't think it's an anti-Semitic theory, or that anyone who believes in it is a conspiracist, or even that people who are offered critical support to, say, Gaddafi on the basis of anti-imperialism are automatically evil. I have complicated feelings about the whole subject, and honestly, I consider my opinion on the whole thing to be a work in progress. Please nobody jump down my throat, blah, 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 blah. Okay, right. So, maybe I could have gone into the ways in which, again, like, this analysis is a way that anti-Semites hide in within ML circles, basically. Like, I think that, like, again, like, the people in the kind of CPI orbit, there are some people who are kind of misguided or slightly dumb, basically, like, just not comprehending Leninist texts well, but they're sincerely Leninists. And then there are other people who are anti-Semites who are trying to hide that. But the video wasn't just about Caleb Maupin and his orbiters, so naive is a good word. Thank you, Drakeson. The video wasn't just about Caleb Maupin and his orbiters. It was also about people like Jimmy Dore, who can't really be called a Leninist by any stretch of the imagination. So, yeah. But regarding critical support to anti-imperialist countries, so this is exactly the kind of place where I say things that get me in big trouble with anarchist Twitter, where I'm saying that we need to have solidarity with other socialist tendencies. I do not agree I do not think that we should give critical support. And by the way, critical support is a term which gets misused a whole bunch. People think that it means hyper support. It doesn't. It means critical support, where you have criticisms of people, but you still support them. I do not think we should give critical support to anti-imperialist countries, because I don't believe in anti-imperialist countries. I think there are countries who... I think there are countries and places and states that are treating people a lot better, and that's generally because they're implementing socialist policies, right? You can look at SocDem stuff going on in New Zealand is always the one that gets upheld by a bunch of Anglosphere liberals, and a lot of it is very inaccurate, and a lot of it is absolutely just trying to suck Jacinda Ardern's toes, and it's a bit groveling and gross. But nonetheless, right, through the pandemic, within the Anglosphere, New Zealand was the most socialist leaning, and so did the best. Outside of the Anglosphere, Vietnam, right, is in many ways a socialist country. They also engage with markets because they have to, because we exist within a global capitalist framework. But not only is there, but here's the thing, right? Here's the rub. I then wouldn't call Vietnam, and this is my perspective, so bear with me for a second. I then wouldn't call Vietnam an anti-imperialist country, because the thing I like about them or whatever is the ways in which the government do have socialist policies. They do have price controls. They do have public servants who act in a really helpful and useful way, and infrastructure that's meant to serve the people. But they also have more IMO. More importantly, to what I like about what Luna describes about Vietnam, anarchist organizing. They have massive people's organizing that tells the government what to do, rather than the government having this absolute essentially one-sided, complete. I mean, the word autocracy is used to for a dictator, but that one party has all the power in places like America, in places like the UK, the unfathomable might of the state, right, compared to individuals. Whereas in Vietnam, people's organizing is so meaningful that there is this immense dual power, and it's a place where you can see actually a fusion and a solidarity between tendencies, because a whole bunch of people who are in government and the education, the curriculum and stuff is Marxist-Leninist and teaches Ho Chi Minh's writings and teaches Marx and Lenin and Engels and so on, right? But then a whole bunch of the organizing is anarchist. And that's cool. And I think that's cool. But I obviously, as an anarchist, I think the anarchist side of it is a lot cooler. And the reason I wouldn't say they're an anti-imperialist country is the country part of it, the state part of it, exists like mostly any other state to mediate class tensions on behalf of the ruling class and help them to participate in global capitalism, right? And I think that the region of Vietnam and Vietnamese society would have a huge head start if all states somehow magically dissolved tomorrow, because they have so much dual power already built up. But the state itself, the country, isn't doing things that are anti-imperialist and fighting imperialism, right? And in a similar way, like, you couldn't call something like Russia like an anti-imperialist state, but like way more than that, right? Like, so much more so, because like they're not even a socialist country. They're not even one who are like trying to do the stuff that Vietnam do, and they don't have all of the dual power structures that Vietnam have. Like, I'm trying to like, what I'm trying to say here is like, I'm trying to steelman the idea of a country that I think is really, really neat, right? And I can't fathom calling it an anti-imperialist country. Now, the point I was trying to make was, this is a place where I say we have to have solidarity with other tendencies, because you might be out at your mutual aid network, you might be out at your renters union or your soup kitchen or your anti-fascist organizers, and you might be organizing with someone who is talking about anti-imperialist countries and does believe in that stuff and does give, going back to the comment, there it is, does say that they give critical support to Gaddafi or Kim Jong-un or something, right? And if they are there helping you kick in fascists, if they are there if they are there helping you protect your neighborhood from stochastic terrorism, if they are there, helping you feed people, helping you stop people from getting evicted, all of this kind of shit, like, great, just fucking organize with them, Like, I'm not telling people to join an organization and work hard for an organization that gives critical support, and materially is aiding in a way that they do not believe in themselves. I'm not telling anarchists to go and join an ML organization or like a Maoist organization, right? But we do have to have solidarity with other tendencies, because that's how we build a broad and robust progressive socialism. That's what I wanted to say about that comment. I'm going to change back over now. I hope that was helpful to people. Johannes1110 says, at first, sorry for my poor English. I have no problems to understand it, spoken or written, but I'm very bad at expressing myself in this language. I don't want to offend you with my question. Please correct me if I cross a line. I'm wondering why a lot of your videos are unlisted. I'll explain. I don't feel comfortable with people watching them. There you go. That's pretty much it. That's all. You asked about the Zack Snyder one specifically. The Zack Snyder one, I think, was an unfair criticism. I don't like the video anymore. I think I would like to revisit it at a later point and make it again, possibly, because the video became too much about Zack Snyder the person, and it was meant to be from the beginning about how Hollywood produces ideology, like how movie studios create ideology in film. And that got lost, and people were not taking that from the video that I had created. And so I've unlisted it, and hopefully I'll revisit it at a later date, and we'll get something more productive out of it. Okay. Nat has sent me messages on Twitter. She would like me to correct some of the things that I've been saying. Let me hang on. There's something in chat first. I've been seeing a lot of comments insinuating people are dumb for believing systemic conspiracies, but my mom, for example, is actually writing her PhD thesis on post-colonial literature, so she should know all this imperialism shit inside out, but she's been taken in by the big pharma horse-paste stuff because she's terrified of getting ill. I really appreciate that you said people should not underestimate how legitimate fear can drive anyone into the cultic milieu. Yeah. I would say, remember that people are most open to changing their minds when they are comfortable and feel safe. And if you want to help your mom to change her mind and to get out of that stuff, show her how threatening the final consequences of that kind of stuff can be, and do so in a way which helps her to feel safe around you and safe around people who do not believe in that stuff. That's my broad advice, and it aligns with a lot of people. A lot of people who know more about this stuff than I do, what they say. Okay, Nat's messages. I feel like you're not representing critical support right, like defending countries from imperialist agendas while being critical, like how we talk about Iran or whatever is really important. It's not about the country being good, it's about defending its ability to control its own future without being folded into American empire. This is what we were disagreeing with. Oh, okay. This is what we were disagreeing over the other day, lol. At some point, you just have to recognize these states are under siege and cannot operate in ideal ways without international communist organization. I don't think critical support is the same as talking about anti-imperialist countries while still recognizing there are countries aligned together outside of the imperial core to protect each other as allies from American domination, even having to make unpleasant compromises to do so. Nat?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I was responding to the framing from the comment.
Yeah, I felt like that framing
Yeah.
was good.
So, okay. I'm trying to state my position oh god.
Yeah.
I'm trying to state my position that I don't believe in anti-imperialist countries, and I don't personally believe in critically supporting
Well, that's what I mean.
quote anti-imperialist countries.
Right, but I feel like critical support means defending them from American imperialism whilst being critical of the state, which I feel like is the duty of communists, right, to do that.
Okay. I do not want to get into a semantic argument.
But I think that's
So-
what I take from the phrase critical support.
I don't want to get into a semantic argument, so I will say fighting against interventionism and imperialism is absolutely vital, and I absolutely support it.
Yeah.
And fuck NATO.
Yeah.
And also, fuck regimes that, like, hang gay people.
Yeah, of course.
And both of those things,
Yeah.
and how you want to apply the terms critical support and anti-imperialist and anti-imperialist countries, go wild.
Right.
But I've stated my positions on those things.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna carry on with the stream now.
Go for it.
Thank you for the messages.
You are?
This is just what intelligent lesbians are like. Well, thank you very much, Anzabel. That's very nice of you to say. But haven't you heard from Caleb Morpin? My video is just a smear job and it's poorly researched. These people are so silly. Catboy Franz Kafka says, yeah, I'm an anarchist and I've been SWP for a bit because it's like all I can find in Liverpool. And it's like, oh, I am much more not a socialist than I was, but ultimately I think we have goals in common and it's like better than not doing anything. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's literally exactly it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Visitor K, thank you for subscribing at tier 1. Everyone, please remember if you're enjoying the stream, you can consider paying for the stream. You can subscribe or cheer or donate directly using command tip. And if you want to support my work in general, you can go to, if you want to support my work in general, you can go to patreon.com/Sophie from Mars and help me out there if you want. Anyway. Oh, shit. DJ Mule's going to be watching my video tomorrow. That's fun. Hell yeah. That's hype. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So I think I answered that criticism well, broadly speaking. Like I say, the last bit was just me trying to talk about my own personal beliefs about these things. I think that, as I say, like, we really need to... And I like the end of that person's comment, like saying, like being able to admit that you are still forming opinions about this stuff. Like, I admit that, like, I'm still forming opinions about this stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, as you're seeing, like sorry, Nat's up there because we have like a mezzanine in our house. Like that's the balcony of our bedroom. You know, so like that's why you can see me and Nat chatting about this. Like, I don't know entirely how I feel about this. I do know that I find people who are trying to like condemn the DSA because the DSA agrees that Assad is using, you know, has used chemical weapons ever. I think that's pretty gross. You know, but I can't.
Right, and there's also people trying to condemn the essay for pointing out the impact of NATO and
yes.
that the Russian invasion has anything to do with NATO's actions at all, right?
And so you wind up beleaguered from both sides,
Yeah.
just like me on this stream right now. So I came in partway through the tangent and was entirely on board for a pure chatting stream. This is a half and half. I am chatting about responses to the video because there's been a lot of coverage of like what ding-dongs are saying, but I wanted to chat about like sincere and good criticisms that I've received of the video, and I'm also playing through some Call of Cthulhu while I do it. So with that in mind, transition. Let's go play some Call of Cthulhu, baby. Right.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Okay, so let's go look at the chessboard again.
The Queen has little protection.
True. She's been advanced on by all those dark soldiers. Truly getting into the spirit of the original Lovecraft. Getting uncomfortably close to the 14 words. We must protect our White Queen from the dark soldiers. Thanks, guys. Love that. Lovecraftian, brackets, racist. Anyway.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Is it that one? Okay, I guess I just gotta... Oh, it's this button, right. Clues. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. It's nice to be able to review the clues from earlier chapters. That's cool. I feel like I'm not meant to be in this bookstore for this long. Like I've probably taken a lot longer than was actually intended here. Inventory, right. There are the cylinders. Right, okay. Right, here we go. Each cylinder is numbered, even if as the cellar... Right, okay. That's an interesting... I'm also open to like criticisms from the chat if you have any stuff that you'd like to discuss about the video. I do want to bring up, there was something I said the other day that I'll maybe talk about as well. I did a few tweets about something that I thought could be kind of that I thought could be clarified. So I tweeted about that a couple of days ago, which I thought I may as well cover in this stream since I'm talking about criticisms, you know, and my own criticism is probably, you know, is a valid one. I do like that people haven't really been like too critical of the length outside of people who are, you know, just lying about the video basically. Oh shit, it's the boy. The boy is on this one. Fuck. Outside of people who are just like, you know, like haven't watched it and are just like making a bunch of shit up, there haven't really been people who are complaining about the length of the video or the pacing or the structure, and that's pretty nice. That's like, you know, I'm hyped that people, generally speaking, have like not even cared that it's so long, because it's mostly just been like a really positive response. And I think that it having been so much work to make the video, like it's essentially come out like a documentary. Blurs that line between video essay and documentary that people kind of have trouble with a little bit. You know, I think people aren't really aware that there are things that are considered video essays that are, you know, feature length outside of long YouTube, you know, like F for fake, or F is for fake. I think it's F for fake by Orson Welles. It's a very good little movie about fakes and, you know, fakery and artistry in the art world. Really interesting. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was going to find the criticism that I had of the...
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
I will say I was very stressed about the the latter, like, say, quarter of the video as time approached. Like, I had actually recorded a whole bunch of stuff, including filming a bunch of stuff, which I wouldn't usually kind of get to that stage, while I wasn't quite sure how it was going to wrap, how it was going to wrap up,
Freud's
but also...
The Interpretation of Dreams.
All right.
It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
There was some stuff like talking about the CPI conference where I was like, and especially about the war, where I was just like, these people are having too many fucking batshit insane takes to keep up with. Like, I'm trying to, like, I hit a point with the video where I was like, I gotta just cut and run here and record this much, and if I'm editing and, like, someone has another take, I can't talk about it, and I have to refuse to talk about it in order to get the video, like, out and done, like, at all. Like, that was a point that I kind of reached with stuff. And, you know, lo and behold, like, the next day after I finished the video, they all started denying the Holodomor. Just straight up denying the Holodomor. So great, you know. That really was a decision I had to force myself through and just be like, oh, fucking hell. Anyway.
What did Drake say about this collection?
He has it. Yeah, let's go listen to this again. Right.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Okay, that wasn't about it.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Yeah, here we go. This is the thread I wrote the other day. Actually, let me listen to this first.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
Okay, Azathoth and Other Horrors, right. Okay, cool. So this is what I said. One central point of the video that maybe stands clarifying is that the shape of a conspiracy theory is the social organism itself. The reason people are saying something is the driving force, and all the particular facts are fungible. So when I'm saying the conspiracy left is pushing the cultural Marxism conspiracy theory, firstly, I mean there's a direct intellectual lineage from LaRouche to Caleb, right? LaRouche, who Caleb loves, but probably more importantly, and yeah, this is more importantly, the function of the narrative is to single out progressive communists and say that because they care about anti-Semitism, racism, queer people, whatever, ableism, they must be middle-class, university-educated intellectuals, out of touch with the real working class and funded by the establishment. This was the intention behind Culto-Bolshevismus as a narrative. This was the intention behind LaRouche's claims that Angela Davis was a CIA agent. This is the purpose of Bread Tube Serves Imperialism. As I demonstrated in the video, That's why Nazis like Andrew Anglin love it. Again, Morpin is desperately trying to prove that he and his buddies are the populists, the real working class, etc., and the fact that progressive voices are infinitely more popular with ordinary people than they will ever be drives them insane, and that's why they turn to conspiracism. So that's the, that was my own criticism of the thing. I think I could have clarified that better in the video, because I was kind of like, I was trying to recreate my own, a little bit of what happened in real life when I found out that he was saying the Frankfurt School are funded by the CIA, right? Because I've been over this a bunch. In the video, I talk about what about when conspiracy theories are true. Even if you believe there is technically some they were fun, right? If you can find some technicality of it's why are you saying it? If you're saying it to prove that the progressive communists, who are much more popular than you are also part of the same program in the modern day, just like Hannah Arendt was, and blah blah blah. It's a narrative, okay? It's a shape of a narrative. It's a shape of a narrative. That's what the real social organism is. If you look at society, which we live in, by the way, I don't know if you know that. If you look at society, there are ideas and narratives, and they are in some people's heads, and the number of people's heads they are in is the size of the thing. And there are absolutely monstrously huge ones, like liberalism, which are fucking wrecking the planet, right? And there are smaller ones, like bread tube serves imperialism, which are a much, an infinitesimal by comparison number of people believe in. But you have to ask, what is that thing, that social organism? What is it doing? What does it want? How does it gain sustenance? What is it driving towards? And that's exactly why we study conspiracy theories. That's literally the point. that's literally the point. Anyway, yeah, there you go. That was a criticism that I had of myself, right?
The chalice of knowledge.
Huh. This is all I can do is just rotate it. It's a little crack in it or something. That's weird. Okay, fine. So I need Azathoth and other horrors.
Drake talked about a
Nope.
particular volume. So these are the
Nope.
volumes that Drake was talking about. What did Drake
Nope.
say about? Drake
Nope,
talked
stop
about
it.
a particular volume. So these are the
Nope.
volumes that Drake was. What did Drake
Nope.
say about this collection? Drake
Nope.
talked about a particular volume. So these are
Nope.
the volumes that Drake. What did Drake say about this collection?
Here we go. Okay. So this is volume 9. So 9 might be something. Some kind of thing. Just checking for anything else. Okay. Okay, volume 9. So we're pretty sure the third tumbler wants to be... Oh no. 9. Okay. Okay. Now what about the other two? Something to do with the chalice and something to do with the chessboard. So, let's listen to what he has to say about the chalice
And
again.
these red drops, like precious stones,
Uh-huh.
are fixed, set in divine gold.
Huh?
To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. And these red drops, like precious stones, are fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does
Okay.
not protect me from its attractions, Henry.
So it's the red drops.
The chalice of knowledge.
Okay. So let's count from this scar in it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
So it should be 5. Okay. Now the chessboard. Is it going to be the number that the...
The queen has little protection.
Yeah. No, that one's difficult. Right. Interesting.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
Okay. But the board isn't numbered. That's really annoying. The number of white pieces? I could try that. There are 4 white pieces. Let's try that. Let's try 4. It was 3. Okay. Hooray, we got the cutscene. What a delightful reward. This is fun. What now? Okay. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. His mind was projected into another body. Oh, damn. Okay. That's pretty wild. Hearing someone talk smart really is appealing? What's that? Me? Do you mean me? That's silly. Wait, that was human skin? Yeah, apparently. Fucking weird that we didn't, that's just like flavor text on the edge of the, on the kind of optionally, oh, by the way, you can know if you want that was human skin. Cool. Cool and normal. 122,000 views now. This is awesome. This is awesome seeing it tick up like this. Someone's just commented, Burger King. Yeah, that's good. This is the problem is I really like a lot of people. A lot of people have commented. I'm just scrolling comments while we're waiting. By the way, a lot of people have commented, just being like, "This is savage. You owned them," or like, "This is a great video," or like, "I learned so much." There's just a lot of praise, which like, I'm not complaining about. That's great. But yeah, I just I want to engage with more criticism because I think it's an interesting intellectual exercise, and I want to be able to like think about how I can make my work better in future. And there just really isn't very much criticism, basically. Yeah, basically. Yeah, I was just scrolling just now to see if there was more, but there really isn't. Like people are just mostly very happy with it, which is obviously because we're in the bread tube echo chamber and no one ever disagrees, blah blah blah, and we're all stupid liberals or some such projection. Anyway, yeah, okay, not seeing anything new here, so let's go back to the game. Ooh, it's loaded. Good.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller?
Sophie
His
says,
patient, after all.
Sophie, I want to
he's
engage with more
busy with
criticism, but
Captain
I'm just too
Fitzroy.
perfect and beyond
He
critique.
specifically asked us not to bother
Yes.
him when that's the case.
My one flaw is
of
that I'm
course.
too perfect.
I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Examine
Very
the
well.
patient.
I'll examine him.
Holy shit! It did actually trans his gender. He's in a woman's body now.
30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch. Slightly
Oh, thank you, Chloe. That's so nice of you. Huge Chloe raid. 22 people. Wow.
Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
Oh no. Did he
So,
did he shove
doctor,
something up his ass?
An opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy
I'm gonna
doctor.
try and pause. There we go, I can. Hello everyone who just raided. I'm Sophie. I am one of the hosts on Red Planet with Nicole, who you're probably familiar with since Chloe is a mod in Nicole's community. I do that every Sunday and we discuss ways to make the planet better, which I think is pretty good and worthwhile. And I sincerely think it's not like anything else you find anywhere on YouTube or Twitch. So please check out Red Planet every 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. PST on Sundays. But again, you probably already know about Bad Bunny, so you probably already follow that and watch those streams. If you want to know more about me, I am an essayist and writer mostly. And I also play games here and chat about politics and stuff. And I'm really open to whatever you want to chat about. I also just released a video called Conspiracy on the Left about how conspiracy theories, what's the word? Penetrate leftist spaces and perpetuate within leftist spaces. And I'm very proud of it. It's very long. If you want to watch it, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes and it's on my channel, Sophie from Mars. You can get my links in chat if you want them. And if you're enjoying this stream, consider paying for the stream by subscribing or sharing or donating directly using command tip. Propagate. Thank you, Tia. That's exactly what I meant. If you enjoy the stream, consider paying for the stream. That's all I can say. And I will be working on some stuff later this year about, I have a series called Monster Men where I talk about why we tell monster stories, where they come from, and what they mean. I'm going to be doing one about kaiju and this great big boy over here. Will probably come up a little bit in that. I'm going to be doing something about eugenics because I think it's a really interesting topic that people, I think, don't discuss quite the right way that they should. And I'm also hoping to talk about the ways that we as online leftists can do more to change the world. I'm hoping that to be a big feature of my upcoming projects. So in the meantime, though, I'm just playing some Call of Cthulhu. So...
After Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms.
Like I said, chat
are
to me
beyond
about
my
anything you want,
comprehension.
Raiders.
What did you
That's very
find?
much the policy here. Today we are specifically talking about some criticisms of my video that I've received that I consider to be in good faith, as opposed to just she said that if you criticize Hannah Arendt, that's the same as denying the Holocaust, which is, You know, that's not a good faith criticism. That's what they call a lie. You know. But we have been talking about some good criticisms that I've enjoyed so far. So, yeah.
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
What?
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips.
Because he's a
What could be
baby.
happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier,
He seemed to feel better?
yes, like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
Jim, I saw the thing that you're talking about. For those who aren't aware, Jim said just before the raid came in that Peter Coffin's retweeted something absolutely vile, and they've just retweeted somebody quote tweeted. Okay. Someone said this is what Mariupol looked like a month ago, and a picture of a very beautiful and vibrant city, looking wonderful, and it's a real horrifying shame what's happened to it with the shelling. It's really a tragedy, even along, not to mention the massive loss of human life. And someone's quote tweeted it saying, "It will look better under leadership of Kadyrov," and Peter has retweeted that. Sometimes it's truly just the truly it's just like I don't think I can be more disappointed, and then I'm like, how have you become this thing that you've become? This is vile. This is absolutely vile. Anyway, right. His body is mutating.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
Oh, baby, do I.
This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
Oh, it's that
I
spooky
pray
guy.
that it's
Oh,
not
no.
here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
Oh god, he's giving them dialysable lymphocyte extracts.
What have you seen to put you in such a state?
These are alarming symptoms. If we don't act, he'll die.
Do you believe that? I'm not as convinced, you see. I even think this man has a strong chance of completely healing from his ailments.
No, Doctor. This patient isn't himself anymore. He's dying.
Really? What do you mean by isn't himself?
He's changing. His physical characteristics, they are more animal than human now.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that you're overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
I'm sorry, I'm really just kind of reeling
Is that a threat?
from the Kadyrov
What did
thing.
he
It's
mean?
just so gross.
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's
Jesus Christ.
founder and one of our profession's most influential
Average male
voices.
doctor, toxic work
My
environment,
word is of no
mansplaining,
weight
true.
against
All
his.
true. All exactly true.
If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
And this, by the way, is like why like people who are from the patsy crowd, like who think that I am going to like engage with them in any kind of way, or even think that they are engaging with my analysis of them in some kind of any kind of equal level. It's just like, no, you are a vile, pathetic propagandist creep running cover for war crimes and completely inhuman cruelty. We are simply not the same. We are simply not on any kind of level where I would discuss with you or engage with you or where my criticism, like, I don't expect my criticism to make sense in the world of fucking CPI because they don't live in reality. Like, they live in CPI world, where it's okay to say fucking things like that. It's truly horrible.
I disapprove of Fuller's methods, but his treatments have saved more lives than I can count.
And Mr. Blake? You said yourself he was dying.
I don't know what to think for now. What I'm sure of is that Fuller is hiding something from us, and I need to know what that is before I take a chance exposing him.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
Folks, I'm actually going to just take a little break. I need to make myself a cup of tea. I need to go to the toilet, and I need to respond to some scheduling stuff to do with recording Dice Funk tonight. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to just take a break for 5 minutes and go do that. And I advise other people to do it as well. Just stretch your legs, get water if you don't have it, make yourself a hot drink if you need a hot drink. And we'll be back shortly. Yeah, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm sorry for the interruption, but like I say, I've got some stuff to do with recording Dice Funk that I need to take care of. 5 minutes. Right. Hey everyone. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to wrap up the stream just now because of the Dice Funk scheduling issue. I need to go and prepare for something other than what I was expecting. Basically, we've got to run. Laura's gonna be running a one-shot, and I need to make a character and get ready and learn the system and stuff. So I'm gonna have to head off. I'm sorry. I know I was gonna come back from the break and we're gonna play more, but I gotta go do that stuff. But I will doubtless stream more soon. I always stream Tuesday evenings. I always do Red Planet on Sundays, 2 p.m. PST, 5 p.m. PST. Oh, the music's still really loud, isn't it? Sorry, everyone. We'll turn that right down. I always stream on Tuesdays. I am a little bit bored with Call of Cthulhu. It's not the most absorbing game. Thank you, Jim and Gola from below for the bits. I'm considering switching to Kirby, but I don't want to leave I don't want to leave Call of Cthulhu unfinished. I feel kind of bad about it, but I also just like I want to play something goofy and fun, you know. But either way, whatever happens, we'll be back on Sunday for Red Planet as usual, 2 p.m. PST on Bad Bunny's channel. We'll be back on Tuesday as ever to play more of the regular stream game, whatever that's going to be. Oh my goodness, thank you, Fox Winchester, for gifting 2 subs to Johnny Desu and Dad Reckoning. A hype train now? Now when I'm leaving? Thank you all for hanging out with me, and thanks for chatting with me about the video. And for watching me play Call of Cthulhu, and thank you for everybody who subscribed and cheered, and people who donated as well. I'm going to go and find someone to raid just now. For those who are in the Patreon community, if you want to get, in the Patreon Discord, if you want to get notifications for when I stream, you can get the Twitch Friends tag, and that will get you notifications for when I stream, which is handy. We're going to raid Morrigan. Morrigan. Who, those of you who are on my celebration of 100k stream last night will remember Morrigan. Be very nice to her. Give her your money. Giving Sophie's friends money is based. Not giving Sophie's friends money is cringe. So, watch out for my Twitter. Watch out if you're in the Patreon Discord for notifications. I might do another stream later this week playing some Kirby. I will definitely see you all on Sunday for Red Planet, and I will definitely see you all next week. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. I gotta go prepare for Dice Funk now. I'm sorry for the abrupt ending. I will see you all soon, my lovelies. Okay, good night.